Hello and welcome finally to episode 22 of the Green Lambkin podcast. Welcome my friends, and thank you so much for your patience. If you are a returning viewer, you will know that it has been a long while since I made a podcast, and for that I heartily apologise. In a nutshell, I was ill a lot. So it was before Christmas when I last podcasted, and it is now the end of March, the 26th, I think. So again, please accept my sincere apologies, but just life and health conspired against me to mean that I haven't been able to do it by now, until now. But anyway, here I am. Welcome to episode 22. My name is Suzanne and I am Green Lambkin. In most places I'm Green Lambkin on Ravelry and Instagram, and I am Green Lambkin Yarn on Facebook and Etsy. And this is my little podcast about knitting, crochet, craftiness in general, including the yarn that I hand dye and the stitch markers that I make. So I've got quite a lot to talk about, as you will imagine. I'm not going to talk about everything that's happened knit-wise to me between now and the last time that I spoke to you, because we'll be here for 3 hours and I don't think YouTube would like that. So bear with me, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to you some more about other gorgeous things in the next podcast, which probably won't take 4 months to come, with a little bit of luck. Coffee. I apologise in advance if there are any disturbances. 4-legged or 2-legged variety. There's a cat down here whom I've just fed, but she could still meow her head off at me. And there are 2 small children upstairs who are with their dad, but it doesn't mean that they won't come down and disturb me. They should be fast asleep, but they won't be. So yes, we're having terrible trouble getting the kids to sleep at night at the moment. It's about 8:30 in the evening now, and I can still hear them thumping about like a pair of baby elephants. Anyway. Yes, I'm going to start with some FOs because I've got quite a few. I'm not going to show them all to you this time. I will tell you, if you've been watching previous episodes, that the black jumper of doom is complete. I didn't put it on because it's quite a mild spring day today. So I will... I'm in a state of undress. Please excuse me. There we go. I will model it for you at some point. But I don't like photographs of my whole body being taken. I don't mind head and shoulders, but anything below there, you can't even see my hands, is between me and myself. No, I will take photos of it. I'll get Johnny to take some for me, maybe at the weekend if we get a chance. So that's finished, and there have been quite a few other FOs, but I've just brought a sample of some finished objects to show you. Obviously, you can imagine it was before Christmas, as I said. I was showing you lots of gift knitting that I'd completed and things, but now I've been doing a bit of selfish knitting. So the most recent thing that I finished was actually with some yarn that I bought from a lovely shop, and I think it's called the Knit and Stitch Shop, I think, in York. In the Shambles area, and it was a really nice shop, really lovely lady. We went actually on my birthday, which was the second week in March, 12th of March to be precise, and whilst we were there I treated myself to something which I've wanted for ages, and I've already knitted it up. So it's mittens, which there are 2 of. Now you'll have to excuse me, I am very badly prepared. I have not written down the name of the person who designed the hat pattern. So this is the hat, and it's quite shrunkled up because it's quite a ribby pattern. It's not actually showing it up that well. It would help if I was podcasting in the daytime, but this is the feathered hat, which can be found on Ravelry, and I'm really sorry. I lent the pattern to my mum and I can't remember the name of the designer. Should have checked it before I turned the camera on. But this is the feathered hat, and it's a really nice snug fit that comes down over my ears, because you might have noticed I've had all my hair shorn off again, which is great and I feel much better. But when the wind blows cold, I like my tabs to be covered. So that's that. and this is the Croft. Oh, sorry, let me just adjust this a little bit because my tripod's on its last legs. It's very wobbly. I'm going to replace it with something a lot more sturdy and substantial. But for now, we've got to cope with the toad wobbly-headed tripod. This is the Croft Shetland Tweed yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners, and it's in the shade Maryfield 761, which is like a grey. If I put the mitten on and show you closely, grey mould with a darker grey and a pinky lilac-y shade. It's gorgeous. I wanted something a little bit more subdued and muted, and I just knit the mittens with the same sort of feathered decrease, like a chevron pattern, and I just did one streak of that up the back of the mittens. I know you can't see it very clearly, and I just did decreases into the finger at the top. It's 1 by 1 twisted rib at the bottom, and I did a thumb with gusset increases for a change. I usually do afterthought thumbs, but I'm planning to play around with lining mittens with micro fleece, so I figured that a thumb gusset type detail will be a lot easier than an afterthought thumb to be lining. So that's that. Yes, really basic. There isn't a pattern for those. I just made it up as I went along. Made notes on the first one, so I knew exactly what to do with the second. And it has one of these amazing big fluffy faux fur pom-poms on the top, which comes off with a popper, so that when you want to wash the hat, you don't have to risk damaging the mitten, the pom-pom, sorry. I really like the decreases in the top of this hat. The original design is done with a contrast rib, a mild multicoloured main colour, and then a third contrast colour for the second contrast colour for the pom-pom. So I think it's like dark red and then oranges on the top, and then like a cream with reds and oranges and purples, and it looks stunning. And I will do another one in a much more highly variegated colour way, because I think that will show the pattern a lot more. In fact, I think I'm going to do one of these in one of my new yarns, which I'll show you when we get to shop update. So that's the first one. The second ones I haven't got on blockers, but these are my Christmas 2017 socks, and they are the Yule Ball colourway. I'm going to put them on blockers because they've got a forethought heel, sorry. Let me just put one on a blocker for you. These are the Yule Ball colourway by Steph of London House Yarns, and it was an absolute joy to knit with. It's a nice long sock because I'm wearing ankle boots a lot more now, and I want them to be able to peep well out the top of my ankle boots. So it's a sparkle sock yarn. I'm not sure. Oh, you might just be able to see a little glimmer there. It is quite sparkly, and it's got this lovely colour repeat. I thoroughly enjoyed knitting these. I made them nice and long in the foot because they have a forethought heel, and the heels and the toes are West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply, which is a BFL nylon wool blend sock yarn, which is very hard wearing, and it comes in a range of lovely colours. So it's a 2x2 rib, top down sock, knitted for a very long time, put my forethought heel line in, knitted a bit more, and then it's a standard double decrease toe with a Kitchener stitch finish, and exactly the same process for the heel. So there are 2 of those, and they will now sit waiting patiently in my sock basket, which I have in my bedroom. And I won't bundle them like I do most socks. I put them together like this, and I do this with my hand knitted socks as well as my commercial ones, and I fold them through like that, and that's how they live in my sock basket. But I won't with these because I need to denote the fact that these will not be worn until Christmas Day this year. So these will remain folded neatly, pristinely like this, and lay at the bottom of my basket, and every so often they'll just peep out and tantalise me. So there we go, that's FO number 2. Oh, knitted on 2.25mm needles, and I think I did those on my ChiaoGoo red laces. Yes. And the next one is some green lambkin yarn socks, which I have knitted for myself very selfishly. So there are 2 of these again. This is almost the same recipe, only this has a standard heel flap and gusset application for heel. So this is 2 colourways. The first one, again, you're not going to be able to see the sparkle very well. Oh, you got a little bit of it there, some sparkle. And this is the green lambkin yarn colourway in glass corn, which was a colourway from the September Derbyshire Dyers market night. So it was an exclusive colourway, but I've very naughtily decided that this has got to be one of my stock colours. We do that occasionally when there's something that really appeals to a lot of people and we love it. Excuse me. We can be forgiven for wanting to put the occasional one in. And then the toe, the heel, and just the tipping on the very tippity top of the rib are a purple tonal that I dyed that have shades of deep purple, lilac and some magenta-y pinks in there. So the glass corn colourway is really highly variegated. And there is a skein of this in the shop at the moment, so if you're interested. The one that I've got here, obviously it's hand-dyed yarn. Each skein is completely individual. Mine came out with a bit more of a sort of a rich pinky undertone in the background colour. The last one that I dyed, which is in the shop, has less of that and it's more of a cool background. You will get the same variegation of colours, exactly the same colours in it. The background will be a little bit paler, but that's the only difference. It just depends on how the colours take and how they run when they're in the pot. But apart from that, everything else is the same. So this is done on a 2.25mm needle. I can't remember whether these were the ChiaoGoos or the Higher Sharps, but it was one of the 2. Knitted on magic loop, and as I say, 2 rounds of, no, it might have just been a cast on and 1 round of the contrast purple, and then probably about 15 rounds of rib after that. It's fine, you can put the kettle on. Johnny's making a cuppa. So yes, quite a long ankle again, not quite as long as the Christmas socks. And then my standard heel flap and gusset treatment, which is a slip stitch pattern heel flap with a rounded heel turn, and then the same normal toe double decrease with a Kitchener stitch finish. I usually go down to about either 10 or 8 stitches depending on how lazy I'm feeling. So, yes, I went to Nottingham just after Christmas with Ivy to see the marvellous Hannah of the Corner of Craft podcast, and we had a lovely day out. She took us to lots of really nice places. We went to visit Knit Nottingham and met Eleanor, that shop owner, who is absolutely lovely, and I will tell you more about that later because there are some spoils. But one of the shops she took me to was a shop called Sostrena, I think. Let me just see if I've got a ball band in here. I do, but it's so small. Can you see that? If I can hold it still enough. Sostrena. I think it's Norwegian, Danish, but somewhere Scandinavian-ish. Anyway, they have all sorts of beautiful stuff, and I will show you more things that I got from there in the next podcast. I was going to show you this time round, but I've accumulated so much stuff that I've had to cull some of it. So they have a selection of cotton yarn, some 4-ply and some DK, and I got some of these beautiful variegated 4-plies, which look like that, and that, and I need to go back and get some more because I want to do more of these. I've started, a lot of people are doing this year. They are making washcloths for gifts for Christmas, and I am determined to be more organised this year and have all of my Christmas knitting done before the 1st of December, and I'll explain more about that later. So I am making crocheted star-shaped washcloths. And these are all in these yarns from Sosterena Grena, and they're 4-ply, multicoloured, unmercerised cotton. And these stars, they fold up, they look quite nice. So they're a 5-pointed star, so they look a bit funny like that. But what I've been doing is folding them sort of in half that way, and then rolling them up. They almost look like a peace lily or something like that. And I thought, tied round with a little bit of ribbon there, that would be very pretty. I plan to put these together with a bar of nice soap. I have been toying with the idea of making some handmade soap, but all of the recipes that I've found so far for handmade soap contain lard. I know soap is made with lard in some cases, but I don't want to make it with lard. Now, I know there are lots of recipes out there that use lovely blends of things like olive oil and coconut oil and rapeseed oil and even sustainable palm oil, but I have not found those recipes yet. So when I do, I might have a play, but we are very lucky to have lots of great places nearby us. And one of the places that I really appreciate is, because we are part of the English Heritage Trust and the National Trust, and one of we've got Bolsover Castle, which is part of North East Derbyshire, in North East Derbyshire, about a 20-minute drive away from us. And last year, every year they have this medieval event in the summer where they have lots of reenactment people there who come and set up camps, and there are people doing blacksmithing and weaponry and baking and witchcraft, and also, and there's an apothecary, and there's all sorts of people. And one of the stalls, the lady sells handmade soap, and I bought some last year. I've still got a bar for myself. I think the one that I've already used was an apple and cinnamon one, and I think they were like 2 bars for a £5, or maybe even 3 for a £5, and they were very, she just wrapped them up in a bit of paper, nothing special. But I've got some little clear cellophane bags, and when I got home I put some of them into cellophane bags and just taped them up and wrote on with a Sharpie what flavour they were, what scent they were. There was an oatmeal one, an apple cinnamon one. I used one for myself already, and it lasted me ages, and it was beautiful. So I'm hoping to go back to that. In fact, I think we're going, it's the Easter holidays here in England, well, here in Derbyshire for us this week and next week, and we're going over the Easter weekend because they're doing a dragon egg hunt, and I think there's going to be some reenactment there as well. So I'm sort of hoping the soap lady will be there and I'll be able to buy some from her. So all that to say, the idea is that I will make washcloths and bars of soap, or buy bars of soap and make those into gifts for family and friends. And hopefully, if I tinker about here and there between other projects, I should have plenty to go out by Christmas. So they come in 50-gram balls, which is 160 metres. So this is almost a 4 ball, which will get me a full washcloth and some left over. So what I'm doing is, with the leftovers, I've only joined a couple. I'm just making granny squares. So this is a purple I haven't made the washcloth from yet. And here's another one I haven't done the washcloth from. It's sort of springy colours. I'm sorry, the colour representation it's a bit glary. It's actually a lot less neon than that. So I've got a turquoise, a purple, that springy one, and then this very autumnal fiery one. So I'm going to get my washcloth out of the yarn, and then the rest of it I'm going to join all these granny squares together to make a really nice hand towel for our downstairs loo. So that's the plan. And so therefore I need to go back to Nottingham to get back to Sostraina Grainer at some point very soon and buy myself some new yarn, because I very much want to continue with this project. Ooh, there are some nice markers in the bottom of that bag. So I'm keeping these in a little toadstool bag, which I think I've shown before, which was made by my sister, who is Wendy, also known as Jazz Kitten, on at jazzkitten.online and Jazz Kitten Wendy on Instagram. And I am hooking them with a 2.5mm crochet hook made by the lovely Nicola Hallman, otherwise known as Fleabubs and Lala. So that's an ongoing project I'll be working on throughout the year until the 1st of December, at which point all Christmas making activity will cease. Okay, so on to whips. I've actually got a couple more whips to show you than I originally intended, because I might have started another sock. I've broken my own rule and I've got 2 socks in progress at the same time. This is a little bit naughty, but I don't care. So the first one is living in this lovely Disney Villains project bag, which was sent to me as a giveaway, which I know I showed you before, by Fate's Thread. I always get that wrong. So excuse me, my memory's appalling. I've got a little mini knit kit in here which you haven't seen before. This was one made by my sister Laura, who is Craftmonger Law. No, her label's not in this one. Craftmonger Law on Instagram and on Etsy. And the sock that I'm knitting, I actually have a hoe here. I'll put that, let me get this one off of here, then I can put this one on here. Here we are. So this is another vanilla sock with a twist, if you'll pardon the pun, because this has got a twisted 2x2 rib. You can't actually see it very well in this yarn. You might be able to see it better on the second one, actually. You can, strangely. Exactly the same technique, it must just be the colours. So this is a Stylecraft Head Over Heels commercial sock yarn, and the colourway is Ben Nevis. Same needles, 2.25. Quite a long cuff, 4, 6, 20 round cuff, and then quite a long leg, not as long as the others. A forethought heel in the same yarn, and a normal standard toe. So that's all there is to say about that one, really. It's very sturdy, which it needs to be, because these are going to be proper workhorse socks. So I have a hoe, and then I am keeping it in at a Craftmonger Law needle cozy. Could you get your claws out of my leg, please? You've got nothing to be moaning at me about. I am this far along the second sock. So I got this far on, and then I had to stop because I desperately wanted to cast on a birthday sock. Well, a Mother's Day. My birthday fell the day after Mother's Day this year. Or should I say, Mother's Day fell the day before. Mothering Sunday fell the day before my birthday this year. And so I wanted to cast on a sock, a special sock. So this one I thought, this one can go on the back burner. And then I'll just pick up with these as soon as I finish the birthday ones. So that's what I'm doing. They're on my ChiaoGoo 2.25 mils. So I'm thoroughly enjoying knitting it. As with all self-striping yarns, it knits up extremely speedily. Oh, I've gone all warm. I think I'm going to have to take off my my shawl for a little bit. What shall I show you now? I may as well show you the next birthday sock. The next sock, the birthday sock, I should say. Now, this is living in a bag which was made for me at my request by Wendy, my sister Wendy, who is Jazz Kitten Wendy. And I asked her for her a plain bag in nice bright colours. So it's not, again, it looks more red here. It's actually a deep orange with a sort of a linen-y print texture. And some black denim at the bottom. Black denim handle and black denim tab here. And this is Owlet, who I bought in York on my birthday. And I wanted it specifically because I wanted a bag to put pins on. So some of these pins I had already. That one I bought myself. That one I bought at, that's an Eden Cottage Yarns one that I bought at Bakewell. That's a Hilltop Cloud one I bought at Bakewell. A charity one. That's one that my friend Eloise bought me at Christmas. I bought myself that little black cat. Sorry, you can't see these very well. It hurts my shoulders a lot. That was a charity one. That's a little cow. That one I bought myself. That's my pro-feminism, pro-choice, pro-cats one. And then the children bought me this pumpkin with a cat coming out of it. And this one which says, Stitchin' and Bitchin'. Stitchin', Witchin' and Bitchin' on it. And then my friend, lovely friend Charlotte, for my birthday bought me this one, which is a crochet granny square, and it came, Whoa There Pickle is the name of the company that that made that badge. So I've got another one coming because I'm apparently addicted to buying pin badges now. I've actually got a sparkly Demi Guys in the post on its way to me, and I'm very, very excited about it. But enough about the badges, and on to the project within. So this is another half object, incredibly. Make sure I've got everything out of there. So the yarn I am using is from All Wool The Thames Wool, which I bought at Bakewell Wool Gathering last year, and it's Midsummer Night's Dream is the colour way. This is the yarn, very neon and sparkly. And let me put my hoe on a blocker. Now this is one of those that, excuse me a moment, Ivy, you need to stop watching me and get to bed. Forget the tablets, I'll bring them up in a bit, just go to bed. That girl, every night, without fail. She comes downstairs after she's been put to bed. Threatened to take the television away for 24 hours if she did it tonight, and she's still here. She'll see me in an early grave, I tell you. Anyway, here's my sock. So it's a beautiful micro striping yarn. Now I think you'll forgive me for doing another vanilla sock. It couldn't really have been anything else. I did do a traditional heel flap and gusset, which gave me some very interesting results. As you can see, some stripy pooling, some poolage on this side, and a black spot on that side. But I don't mind. I actually really love the way this looks. It sort of reminds me of like a pixelated oil slip. So, a long sock again. I'm getting more into my longer socks. I'm having to be patient. Standard heel flap and gusset using exactly the same tonal yarn as on the glass corn socks. And then this one, which is another tonal red. That's coming out more blue red than it is in real life. It's a bit more tomatoey. I actually dyed these two colours for those toadstool socks, which I haven't been able to make for myself because my instep is simply too big to be able to fit my foot into Fair Isle socks, no matter how big I make the needles. You know, I was going up to like 3.25 or something, I think. I still couldn't get it over my damn instep. So what I told the beautiful designer is, I love the design so much of the Fair Isle. And it's not her pattern, it's my stupid damn foot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pattern and I'm going to translate it into fingerless mitts for myself. So I will still use exactly the same colours that I was going to use originally in the sock, and I will make myself some fingerless mitts with the beautiful Magic Toadstools on for next winter. Well, next autumn, really. But I thought, you know, I'm going to have plenty. I've got some more bits and bobs of that red left over as well. So that's what I'm doing with that. So I am on well into the second. As you can see, got a nice sparkly crystal marker on it. And this is, again, going really nice and fast. I'm knitting it in between other bits and bobs, but I'm mostly taking it out with me to, you know, whenever I'm going anywhere. I've now got a handbag that's big enough to fit a project in, a small project in, so it's going everywhere with me in my handbag, which is good. So this is how much I've got left. I need to weigh it. I hope I've got enough left for my Advent mini for this December coming. I'm sure I will. And enough to put a bit in my blanket as well. So that's that. Same, it's the higher sharps in the, I think they're 8cm cable. But not a lot to tell really. 2x2, standard 2x2 cuff. And I'm enjoying them thoroughly. The yarn knits like a dream. The next whip, Madam needs to have bogged off back upstairs. Ivy? She has, we're all right. Is a Christmas present. Yes, it's a Christmas present. I know. Well impressed with myself. And this is living in a bag which you haven't yet seen. So I won another giveaway. I can't believe it. I've been so lucky. And this is huge. It has so much space in it. And this reminds me of the knitting bags that we had when I was kids in the late 70s. When we were kids in the late 70s and early 80s. It's got a small green, purple and pink giraffe on it, as you do. And I won this from the marvellous, I cannot remember the name of the maker. I'm terrible. Is it in here? No, I didn't write it down. But it is made by Yellows. Can you see it? Just bear with me while I fiddle around aimlessly. You might be able to just see this. Yellow Stitch Bags, who's based in Utrecht. And the lining of this is absolutely gorgeous. It's yellow and bunnies and springy. And spring has been very hard won here in Britain. We would normally be knee deep in primroses, pansies, daffodils and goodness knows what else, but apparently we're getting snow at Easter weekend, which is this coming weekend again, so goodness alone knows, we are ready. Having said that, I've been out in the garden today, the kids have been out. I've got 2 loads of wash and dry on the line over the last 24 hours, so can't be too bad. It's just a shame that it feels as though it's going to be taken back away from us again. Anyway, shut up moaning about this. Oh, I've just found the note in the bottom of the bag. Elske. Elske? I don't want to show you the whole thing, but I think Elske. My pronunciation is a lot to be desired, but yes. So this is a design that I am working on. Excuse me, I've got a very achy back. And it's a snood, so a long cowl that can come down into your coat and can come up over your head like a hood. And this is being worked in 4 shades of Drops Nepal, which is 65% wool, 35% alpaca. And the 4 colours I am making it in are these delightful shades of a very dark purple, which isn't really coming out very well, but then this representation is really good. It's for duck egg blue, a light silvery grey and a really nice bright coral. and the design is going to be called the Campanula snood. I need to think of my words then. So it looks like a very thin tube, and there are 1 or 2 ends to weave in, because I can't be doing with carrying the yarn up 6 rows. It's just, I'd just rather darn the ends in, or ask my lovely friend to do it for me. So this pattern is really, really simple, but really, really pretty. As you can see, once it's stretched out, it's a very nice bell shape, hence the name Campanula. So it's just a 2x2 rib on the bottom edging, and it will be the same on the top. This is the large child size. I'm going to be making it for small child, large child and adult, and it will be written so that you can do it in contrast colours like this, excuse me, whilst so it's almost adult size this, but it just needs a little bit more space in it. So as you can see, it's getting close to being long enough, excuse me, and it will be extremely warm and comfy and cosy. So I will be getting back on with this again shortly. I have another surprise crochet project that I'm working on at the moment, which I will take photos of, and hopefully, because I'm trying to learn to use video editing software in an attempt to make this podcast a little bit more pleasant for you to watch, with some music, because I have actually got my own theme tune, which my sister, Jazz Kitten Wendy, who it will be no surprise to you is a jazz musician, actually wrote, composed and recorded some music called the Jazz Kitten, the Green Lambkin Blues for me, and that is my intro music. So I'm going to attempt to use it on this one, so you will have already heard it if I succeeded, and if not, then I apologise. I will try harder next time. But it sounds really like the same kind of style as the not the Frasier theme tune, but you know, Frasier, the comedy, the American comedy, based in Seattle, the sort of the segue music between scenes and things like that. It's very like that. It's got vibes in it, which are my favourite jazz instrument of all time. So yeah, you will have heard that already, and I don't really know why I'm telling you this. I've completely gone off track. Oh yes, I was talking about learning to insert pictures, so I'll be able to go, I'll insert a picture here, and then a picture will appear. I will also have subtitles to tell you the names of patterns and yarns. Maybe I'll even have names to denote the beginning of a new segment. Anyway, so this is the medium size. As soon as I've finished this, which will be very shortly, I'm going to be typing it up. Paula, my faithful test knitter, is going to be, and sample knitter is going to be knitting the toddler size version, and I am going to be knitting the adult size version to double check the pattern in some of my own yarn, which is very exciting because this is an Aran weight, so I've now got an Aran in my repertoire. The needles I am knitting it on are, I think they're 4.5mm, but I'll have to double check. It will be written in my pattern notes. Fairly sure they are, but I'll tell you when it's finished anyway. So hopefully you'll be interested in that one. It will be available for in Ravelry when I've got it all sorted. So the last FO I'm going to show you is something that I haven't worked on for a while, and will now go into hibernation until next December. So this is one of the reasons, the primary reason really, why I want to have all my Christmas knitting, Christmas cards written, wrapping done and everything before the 1st of December this year, because I want to enjoy the season without getting stressed. By Christmas Day last year, I actually had an anxiety attack on Christmas Day because I was so exhausted from racing around and getting stuff done. I just felt like crap by the time the day came, and I had a panic attack in my mum and dad's kitchen on Christmas Day. It's ridiculous. So every year, as you know, Paula and I, for the last 2 years, have done an Advent mini swap where we swap 24 10-gram minis and other bits and bobs. And we also give a full skein on Christmas Day and various other lovely goodies and things as well. I've already started my shopping and gathering of yarns for this year, you'll be pleased to know. I'm really very happy with myself. But living in this bag, which was a beautiful gift to me from the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted from last year, and you forgive me, oh, you don't need to forgive me, it was Princess P. You can find her on, let's see, it's Princess P. I can't remember her name because I've got a brain like a sieve. It's not that I'm rude, it's that I've got fibromyalgia and my brain cannot retain people's names for more than about 3 seconds. I'm worse than a goldfish. I'm really sorry, but I have loved using this and it's been perfect for holding my Advent mini project. Because I always have so much left over that when I've put it in my blanket, and I wanted to make better use of it. It's also, this bag, it's huge, it's got the project in it. It's also got several bags of minis that I've been using in my blanket as well. So, and there's another one in there. So it's really, really spacious. I'm very impressed with this style of bag. And what I have to show you is an infinity scarf, which I have made from, oh, I'm halfway through a row, I didn't even realise. It's so long already. Where to start? So I sort of stole this idea from Disa of Disa's Craftwork podcast. She made one which she's knitted like a double layer, so it's a tube. But I just decided I wanted to do it in garter stitch, and I did 12 rows. Now some of these are from my Advent minis. That's my Christmas socks from when I finished that. Some of them are minis from other people, some of them are leftovers from other projects, and some of them are just minis that came from my blanket stash. And I'm just halfway through putting this green one on here. Now this is a 3.25mm Knit Pro Nova interchangeable on quite a short cable. I think that must be a 20cm cable, I would have said. So by the time I've got another 24 plus any others that I collect and decide I want to put in this, I've lost my yarn under my chair now. Excuse me a moment. Not one of those people who can leave it until the end. That would really annoy me. There we go. Apologies. So this is going to go into hibernation. And I have every intention of knitting each yarn in on the day that I get it this December coming. And I'm also going to knit a pair of scrappy socks. And I'm going to get 2 fresh pairs of sock needles all ready for the 1st of December. And then I am going to cast on and knit them concurrently so that I have a stripe in my infinity scarf and a stripe in each of the socks. So hopefully by Christmas Eve I'll be finishing off a pair of socks which I can wear over Christmas. So impressed with my plans. Whether they actually come to fruition is another question entirely. My ends are getting tangled in. I did weave some of them in. And at some point I should probably stop and weave these ones in as well. So that's going to go into hibernation. I'll probably just finish that green row off that I'm doing. Take all of the other minis out that are in the bottom there and pop this into my cupboard to have a little sleep until the beginning of December. Which brings me swiftly on to new acquisitions. I did an advent swap with Itty Bitty Blue Sky. Is that right? Anyway, my swap partner was Annegret Paul, I think is her name. She's from Germany. Lovely, lovely lady. And she and I did a swap, and it was 4 weeks. No, I sent mine on to somebody else. Annegret sent to me. That's right. It was like a rolling one. And she sent me, and I've not brought them with me because I'm not that clever. I'll show them to you next time, but it's Lang yarn, I'm sure it is. And I put some in my blanket. Now, they were meant to be 20 gram minis. She sent me a 50 gram skein each week. She was so generous. So I've got these 4 beautiful skeins. I put the stripe into my infinity scarf, my Advent infinity scarf, but I also will be able to make myself a beautiful shawl or other similar size project with it. And it's a cashmere blend yarn. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm sorry, I'm picking a bit of dead skin off of my thumb, which is very pleasant. But there was also a Christmas Day skein. And the Christmas Day skein I'll find in a minute, which she sent me. It's really exciting because it's Dunvishchen, I think. It's German yarn from Hemmingen, and it's please don't throttle me for butchering this. It's Dunröschens Sockenwolle. I think that makes an when it's got the umlaut above it. Anyway, it's 100 grams. Liebwoll handgefärbt Wolle. I think hand painted yarn. 75% wool, sheer wool. I'm not sure what sheer is. Sheer wool, and 25% polyamide. It's 420 meters for 100 grams, which is fantastic yardage, and it's superwash at 30 degrees. Tanz die ganze Nacht. Dance the ganze Nacht. Something to do with dancing at night. I did GCSE German. I got a B. You won't believe it, listening to my pronunciation, but Johnny's just come back from a week-long trip to Nuremberg and decided that the accommodation in the place that they stayed was extremely reasonable and very nice. And he really liked it there. I think we're going to go on holiday to Germany at some point soon, which is all of the encouragement that I need to actually pull my finger out and refresh my German. I want to get to a stage where I'll be able to take German A-level. I always wanted to take it, and they wouldn't let me at school because it clashed with the other subjects I was doing. Anyway, you want to look at the yarn, don't you? It's so beautiful. These lovely muted, sort of bluey, well, that's quite good actually. And then all these pretty, 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 pretty shades of green, blue, yellow and pink. Oh, it's beautiful. I don't know whether I'll make socks from this or whether it'll go into a different project. I'm tempted to think it might be socks because it's a good sturdy sock wool. It feels nice. It feels like it's going to stand up to some wear. So thank you so much, Annegret. I absolutely adore it. And it will now go back into my yarn basket where I can stare longingly at it. My Christmas Day yarn from Paula. Gorgeous again. Devon Sun yarn. See, I didn't have any difficulty pronouncing that. This is Cranberry Twist, and it's Humble yarn base, which is 100% superwash merino. So it's a sock weight or fingering weight, 100 grams, 400 meters, and it's machine washable at 30 degrees. So it's very soft. Obviously this will not be socks. Cranberry Twist. Makes my mouth water. This really is a true cranberry red. Really beautiful. It's got a little bit untidy there. I think I might have to tidy that back up. I don't like untidy skeins. Anyway, so thank you very much, Paula. I think that will probably go into a shawl. It'll either be a shawl or it'll be a one skein project for a garment which goes sort of on this portion of my body. One or the other. And then the children bought me this for Christmas. No, Johnny bought it for me and gave it to me from the children. It's Dancing Dog Dye Works Twist Sock, which is 100% merino, superwash merino. And it's a high twist yarn. Do you know, I keep looking at this and it doesn't matter how hard I try, I cannot read what this colourway name is. Owlies and black, olives and black. I don't know. You tell me if you can read that. Olives and black something? If you know what this is called, please tell me. Anyway, this came to me from, I bought it in a D-stash from Jessica, who is Sergeant Griff's girl on Ravelry, and Jessica Ruth. Oh God, I can't remember what her Instagram handle is. She's the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast on YouTube. She's lovely. She lives in a tiny house and she's pregnant and she's destashing to make room for baby and baby garments and whatnot. I don't think it doesn't say it's a self-striping. It sort of looks like self-striping, but I'm drawn to make a sock head hat from this. It's such lovely sweetie colours. I really can't wait to knit with that. I'm on a real drive to knit hats at the moment, and I just think something as nice as this, especially if it is a self-striper, will just make a lovely sock head. So that's probably what I'm going to do. So that was Christmas presents. And then, oh, I had a minor panic then. I thought I'd lost a ball of very special yarn. No, it's right in the corner. As I said, when we went to see Hannah in Nottingham the other month, January now, we went to visit Eleanor's shop, Knit Nottingham. Eleanor has her podcast where she talks about stock and events and things that are happening at the shop, which is very interesting. You can find her on that one where you look for videos. YouTube. It's late now, the coffee's not kicking in. As Knit Nottingham. And I bought some more yarn for washcloth, which is the King Cole bamboo cotton. And Eleanor assures me that this makes lovely washcloth, and I can well believe it because it's so lovely and soft. So I just bought one ball for now. You can tell it's been handled by the children, but that's bamboo and cotton for you and will not stay tidy. So I thought I'll try it, and if I like it, I'll order some more for her, because she does do online sales, which I didn't know before. And I have since bought some of this next lot of yarn that I'm going to show you for a very special project for a little boy I know. And whilst I was there, I also bought 4 balls of the Anti-Tickle Merino Blend Aran from King Cole. So 2 in shade 767, which is this sort of lovely plummy colour, and 2 in shade, how funny, this one's got the name of the colour on, 1769 Rust. So I've got 2 balls of each of those, and they're for the children's Christmas mittens. Don't tell them. And I've also knitted a pair of mittens for another little boy in navy blue in the same yarn, and they've come out beautifully. And then the last thing that I treated myself to was this Rico Design Essentials. I'm sorry it's blowing out a bit. and it's the Super Kid Mohair Silk. So it's 70% mohair, 30% silk, 25 grams, it's 200 metres. And if I can find it, my idea for this was coming out more red than it is. It's more of a rusty orange, but I'm going to make myself a 2-colour shawl with this and this, which is my Jellowine colour on the sparkle socks. I'm going to dye some of that for myself. Right, so that's all of that. So that can go back into stash now. So that's all the stash enhancements, new acquisitions, whatever you want to call them. I'll probably have to actually start deciding on definite titles for my segments now, won't I? This is something I treated myself to. I found it in a really brilliant shop in Sheffield in the Winter Garden, which is called, oh, knickers. Is it called Sheffield Crafters? It's something like that. Basically, all of the crafty gift items which are available in this shop are all made or designed by people living in Sheffield, and it's full of fantastic stuff. Such a lovely range, you know, there's sewing, there's glass work and silversmithing and things. And this is the person who makes these mugs, is the company is called House of Alphonse. They do have an Etsy shop which is called House of Alphonse, and this mug is available in the shop. Now she's a paper cut designer, and if I turn it slowly, hopefully you'll be able to get a good shot of it. It says, "Let's get together and knit rainbows," and it is 2 narwhals knitting a rainbow with their horns, tusks, whatever you call them, with balls of rainbow coloured yarn in the sea. I treasure and prize this mug above everything. No, I don't really, but I do love it very, very much. It's really big, which obviously has added value as far as I'm concerned. Preferring to drink my coffee and tea from a bucket than a mug. I just love everything about this design. It's got rainbows, it's got yarn, it's got narwhals. Oh, it's got a lovely friendly sentiment as well. So I treated myself to that from the I'm sure it's called the Sheffield Makers Shop in the Winter Gardens if you're ever there. So I have 2 things left to talk about. The next thing is a giveaway. Yes, I haven't forgotten. I had a giveaway running. And it was a Ravelry group giveaway. And thank you very much. I asked you all to... I can't remember what the question was. I gave you a prompt. Something like, what would you knit with? Advent mini skeins or Christmas yarn, or what are you going to be knitting next? Something like that. God, I really did read all of your responses and enjoy that very much. So thank you so much. The prize is this lovely project bag, which was made by Craftmonger Law, my sister, and it's owly. And these owls remind me of the owls from Athens, in the story of the owls from Athens from the Bagpuss series, which was on when I was very little. It's got this lovely contrasty fabric at the bottom. Pink zip. It's lined with bright pink, as you can see. I'm not sure if you'll see that because it's sparkly, but it says, "Handmade for you by Laura, Craftmonger Law." And inside are 2 one-off... Sorry. 2 one-off skeins of yarn dyed by me, which will make a beautiful 2-colour shawl. They both contain the same colours, but this one is a lot more purpley. And also some stitch markers made by me, which I think tone very nicely with the project. And you will also receive a copy of the Witching Hour shawl pattern. And without further ado, the winner, thank you everybody for entering. The winner is Simply Imagine It, who is Julie. Yay! Well done, Julie. So if you see this and you would like to either message me, inbox me on Ravelry, inbox me on Instagram, either of those will be absolutely brilliant. I'm sure you follow me on both of those. So, yes, drop me a message with your address and I will get your parcel packaged up nicely and sent out to you. I'm sorry that it took me so long to get to you. I know I was going to draw it and announce it in the new year, but better late than never. So finally, let me just tidy a bit of this up to give myself a little bit of space. I'm not putting things away properly. I've left half of my sock project out here. It's not a very clever thing to do. Tidy that one away there. Put these into there. We'll get there in a minute, honest. Move those up there, making room for stock. Right. As I said earlier, I've got a new base. I've actually got two new bases. It's behind me. So I have just got a few examples of some of the yarns which are currently available in the Green Lambkin shop. So a couple of you asked me for Jelloween to be dyed and put into the shop, which is as it was the colourway which I dyed for the Halloween Halloween sock kits, which me and my two sisters collaborated on last year. So there you have it. Jelloween is now available in the shop. There are currently 2 skeins available, and it is just shades of green, rusty orange, dark purple and black with some of the white showing through. And this is on the sparkle base. As with all my yarns, I am more than happy to take custom orders if you would like multiple skeins. If you would like the same colourway dyed on a different base, I am more than happy to oblige. All you have to do is message me on Etsy, message me on Facebook, message me on Instagram or Ravelry and ask the question. I can arrange anything. So that's the Jelloween colourway. And then this is another stalwart, one that you all appreciate very much. And this is the Cosmic Wonder, which is one of my earlier colourways, but it's not been in the shop for a while, so I thought I'd dye some more up. So there are 2 skeins of that available in the shop, I think. Yes, 2 skeins. There is 1 skein of glass corn. So you can see here what I was saying to you earlier, slightly less of a pinky tone in the base than my sock, but still the same overall colours. I'm sorry the colour representation isn't brilliant with it being dark, but I thought it's now or never, just make a podcast. Some of the other colours. This is a colourway which was for the February Derbyshire Dyers Yarn Night, and there was some left over, so I've popped it in the shop there. This is called Muck and Brass, and it is dyed based on the colours of British coinage. So you've got rusty coppery tones, goldeny bronzy tones and silvery blacky tones. So it's meant to be shiny new pennies and mucky old ones. So that's Muck and Brass, and that's on the sparkle base. And then all of the other yarns I have to show you are on the new bases which I've got. So Holly, one of my lovely customers and friends, suggested to me when she saw my new, she loves a BFL sock base. And when I started dyeing a BFL sock base, she said, you know what would look lovely on that, what would work really well is, what's my yarn called? Silver Linings. So I dyed some silver linings on it, and I tell you what, it does work well. So you have this 3 colour rainbow, so it's basically cyan, magenta, yellow in that section there. Those of you who have been following me for a long while will know this colourway very well. and will have seen many times how it knits up. And then the rest of the base is shades of silver grey and white or natural. There will be some very slight patches of the other colours distributed throughout. You can see a little bit of pale blue came through there, but that all adds to the character and the nature of the yarn. And this is dyed on the BFL High Twist. Oh yes, you can see it really well there. So it's 80% BFL, Blue Face Leicester, 20% nylon in a high twist base, and it's gorgeous. It's really nice. You can tell just from feeling it's soft and it's gorgeous, but it's going to make a really sturdy sock. So there you go. There's silver linings available in the shop on the BFL base. There is also some, what are these called? Hang on. I can't remember my own socks, my own yarn colours. Hang on, I wrote it down here somewhere. No. I thought I'd got it written down here. It'll come to me. They were all nicknames for British banknotes. So there was Bullseye, Score, and oh, Mother Hen. That's right. So this is the £10 note, Mother Hen, and this is the BFL sock base again. So £10 notes in Britain are shades of orange, gold, blacks, and greys. So I've got a couple of skeins of that in the shop. And then this one, it's a £50 note. And I think this one's Score. You have to forgive me. It could be Bullseye. No, it's Bullseye, that's right, because Score is a £20 note. Yes, that's right. So the £50 note, which is pinks, reds, a little bit of yellow tone in there, that's Bullseye. And you can see the saturation of colour on this BFL base is great. I'm sorry, I've lost concentration now. I do apologise. And then the other new base, I'll just show you one of very quickly. I've lost my notes now because I turned the page. Is the Aran Tweed. And I'm really excited to have an Aran in the shop. I do have some DK from time to time as well. I will be dyeing some more DK at some point soon. Now this was one of the Winter Sunset, I think this was called, from the January Derbyshire Dyers Market Night. And this is obviously a tweed based yarn. So it's Donegal Nep, which you can see there. And this is what I'm going to be knitting the adult version of the Campanula. Oh dear, you can see all the fluff in the air. Of the Campanula cowl, shawl, snood, that's the word I was looking for. In this, but in a different colourway, which is called Rhubarb Crumble. So wait for that to come out. That's going to look beautiful. But there you go. That's the Aran Tweed, and there's 2 skeins of this currently in the shop as well. So if you are interested in any of those, I can't remember what the yardage is on that. I'm sorry. It's 100 grams. It'll come to me. The details are all there in the listing for the shop anyway. So that's everything. Again, Julie, hopefully you'll have been watching this and you will drop me a message to let me know that you have seen that you are the winner. I'm hopefully going to have edited this. If it all seems like too much hard work, this time round. I might just pop this video up and then try harder next time, be more prepared next time. But with a little bit of luck, you will have heard the Green Lambkin Blues by now. Anyhow, either way, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you about knitting and stuff. I will endeavour to be back sooner than 4 months next time, because that is too long and I've missed it. So thank you so much for spending time with me this time, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you.